What's happening, HC Nation? Zach Edwards here for another Stump the Creator. This one is a long one. This is from Ryan. Ryan, thank you so much for 14 questions. Okay, you have now made it from like, what? We got to be up to, I know I'm jumping these numbers up quickly, but we're having a lot of questions. So we're at least at about 150 questions. Man, I guess you're about 10% of all previous questions. So let's get to them. If you don't know the game, Stump the Creator is a creation of historical conquest. It's where you are the stumper, I'm the creator, and we're trying to figure out if you can stump me. So you're going to ask me questions that you don't think I could answer, and I'm going to try to make it so that I always answer the questions, and I always have, except I've been once wrong, wrong once, and so I'm not going to make that issue again. So let's make sure that never happens. Or you know what? No, your job is to make sure it happens. You want me to stumble to some extent, just when it comes to answering the questions. Anyways, here we go. Hi, I have a few questions for the Stump the Creator contest. Please redirect if needed. Redirect. Okay. This one says, with Carlos Hathock, it says that after he is played, he can take out the next sniper that is put into play. I know Lyudmilla, Pavlychenko, Pavlychenko, destroying that, and Simo Häyhä snipers, but are there any others? Okay, there are. There's one other sniper. So I got Lyudmilla, I've got Simo is in the, oh, you're right. I think that's all three of them. I think there are actually three. Yeah, Simo Häyhä, that's in the Vesuvius deck. And then we have Carlos Hathock, who is in one of the rare cards. So it says, hold, after Hathock is played, the next sniper played by your opponent is automatically taken out, discarded by Hathock, even in interrupt. Okay. But those are the only three that I know of as of right now. Yes, and then one in snow. So yes, I think that would be the three. Pretty much the same question as above, but with 1.0 Scotland, I can double the effects of any Viking character or army card defense. I know about the Viking army, but are there more Viking army character cards? There are a lot of Viking, Norse, I should say. So not Viking. The Vikings never considered themselves Vikings. That was actually a name that was given to them later on. Actually, much later on. I think hundreds of years later on. But when it comes to Vikings, or those that would be classified as Vikings, we have everything from King and Queen of the Netherlands. They would be considered quote unquote Vikings. We have Leif Erikson, we have Eric the Red, both Vikings. We have the Viking army. And I think we have like one or two more. We have Odd the Deep-Minded. We have King Godfred, another explorer. I don't think we have any other army cards. We don't have any berserkers yet. We do in Totally Medieval, so that's another game you want to look up. But no, I think those are basically it. So you can double the effects of any Viking cards, being explorers or anything else. Okay, question number 3. 1.0 Margret Hughes says, I gain 100 morale for every female character. Does that count herself? And does it count for King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella? So for every character card, not army card, so it's not the Amazon Warriors, but something like the Trunk Sisters, 2 of them. Yes, you can count for both of those. King Ferdinand, Queen Isabella, 1 of those. So for any female character card in play, if it's an army card, it does not count. If it's a character card, it's usually 1 or maybe even 2. Like the Grimm brothers, the Trunk Sisters, there's 2. Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand 2. You can use the female that's in 2 of those cards. Grimm brothers. Yeah. Anyways, does that count herself? Yes, it does. So whenever you have a card that says for all African American, yes, it includes that card that you played, because that is now in play. Okay, moving on. Question number 4. The 1.0 Crittenden Compromise says it makes to make a truce for 2 turns. Does that prevent all morale decreases, assassinations, etc. from happening, or does it mean no battles can be played? A truce is only for battles. It does not affect events that you might play or anything else you might play that's outside of land-to-land combat. So let me move on to the next question. When a card says reverse, is there a default as to what effect takes place, or is it the player's choice? For example, a morale gaining card is reversed. Okay, when a card says reverse, is there a default as to what effect takes place, or is it the player's choice? No, it's usually the whatever the opposite of it is. So if they increase your morale, if they decrease your morale, it decreases their morale. If they take away a land, it takes away one of their lands for you. So for example, the morale gaining card is reversed. The effects can either be that the player gains the morale instead of the opponent, or it could be the opponent loses morale instead of gaining it. Now, so if it's reversed back on the other player. So you would not go from losing morale to gaining morale. You would only be able to reverse it back on the player who played it initially. So that's a reverse. Okay, question number 6. With Archimedes, it says, choose double the effects of any knowledge card in play, or reverse the effects of any knowledge card in play. My question is, for the first part, can I double an opponent's knowledge card? For example, one that gives 200 morale, so that I have the double ability. For example, 400 morale. Double the effects of any knowledge card in play. So you can either double it, or you can reverse the effects of any knowledge card. So again, my first question is, first part, can I double an opponent's knowledge card? Well, if the knowledge card increases their morale, I don't know why you'd want to double their morale. But yes, you could actually double the effects of any knowledge card, but you can't reverse it back on you and then double it. It's only one or the other. There you go. Number 7, one of the Zach Edwards cards I have allows me to take control over an opponent's character. When I discard Zach Edwards or he dies, do I still have control over the character card, or is it immediately returned like Shakespeare? I was also wondering what happens to a character when Shakespeare dies and the owner's battlefield is full. Is the card discarded, or does it go somewhere else like the opponent's hand? Okay, so here's where it says. So let's pull out Shakespeare just for this example. Because it actually says exactly what happens to it. It says, while in play, Shakespeare takes control of one of your opponent's characters. Your opponent card may be played in any land. Okay, if your lands are full, you don't get it. So let me put it this way. If you played Interrupts and your lands are full, you have no place to put it. You cannot discard one of those cards in your battlefield during someone else's turn. That's not allowed. That's outside the rules. It's not in the Interrupts abilities. So you cannot actually play an Interrupt if you don't have space to play it. At the same time, if Shakespeare dies off and that opponent would be coming back to you, if there's nowhere to put it, sorry, that person's going to the discard, and it's going to get your discard. It cannot go back to your hand. It has to be either played in the land or go to the discard. Okay, next one. With once cards, can their ability be played again if they are revived, or does it have no effects? So anytime you revive a card from your discard, not saving it from the discard, but if it actually goes in the discard and then another time you pull it out, yes, you would actually be able to use the abilities one more time or again. It basically wipes it clean as if it was never used. There you go. Number 9. 1.0 US West Coast says, if you have at least 3 US territories, increase your strength by 700 points. Okay. Question 9A, what counts as a US territory? So anything in the United States, including Hawaii, Alaska, and I think we divided into 3, maybe 4 other places in the United States. For example, the Philippines were a US territory between 1890 and 1946, but they aren't now. Do they still count as a US territory in the card game or not? At least 3 US territories. I got to go with current. So they aren't right now. So they're not considered a US territory right now. But that's a great question. If something was owned, US Samoa, Tonga, no, Tonga I think is its own nation. But US Samoa, because there's a French in the US side. That's how it's, yeah. Puerto Rico, some of those places, yes, they could actually be considered that. But we don't have those cards yet. Not yet. We don't have Samoa. Okay. Question 9B. Does it count itself in the power? Does it count itself in the power? Yeah, it would. The Philippines would have its own power, and the US territory, being the West Coast, would have its own territory. Does it count itself in the power? Well, it just says you would increase your strength by 700 points, and that would be for just the US West Coast. The Philippines would not, I mean, if that even was part of it, it would not have increased its power at all. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, number 10, and this is going to be the final one. I've got 4 more for the next time. Apollodorus of Damascus says that he creates a bridge to another land. Then it says, transport any cards for 2 turns. Does it mean transport them between 2 continents or between any 2 continents? Oh, 2 continents or between any amount of continents. Bridges to another land, just one other land. So it's one country to one country, not one continent to one continent, just one country to one country. I'm going to double check that one. So this is, oh, he's actually up here. He's a rare card. No, we're going to go with that. We're going to go with what you said here because it's on the back side, and I'm not going to go back side right now. So actually, he's an engineer. Yeah, I think he's a rare card. No, there he is. Okay. No, he's not. Here we go. So Apollodorus creates a bridge to another land. Transport any cards for 2 turns. Apollodorus is sent to the discard pile after 2 turns. Yeah, so it's just land to land. Venezuela to whichever other land. And it doesn't exactly make sense because there's no way you would go over an ocean with a single bridge. But his bridge was very, very long, so we wanted to give him something that was very memorable. So yes, it would join 2 countries for 2 turns. Okay, yes, and we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us on this Stump the Creator. Thanks for giving it to us. Also, if you didn't see it, we do have a podcast. So check out our podcast. There's an example of it on our YouTube channel. And then subscribe to us. We need the help. We need all the help we can get. We need to get subscriptions for Hunt the Past to keep it going and also to further it, which means to keep making these. Right now we make them once a week. We hope to at some point get the funding to make them 5 times a week. So that would be great. And it'll also get us to the point where it will be part of our system as well. More on that later. But thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye. If you have any comments or questions, add them to the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow, actually. Take care. Bye.